we are taking refuge in our buildings. Paramedics are also cannot help. We are trying to save the injured and those who have fallen. We are helpless, and we see people lying dead and injured on the ground, and we cannot help them at all.
The Libyan army is notoriously poorly resourced, which may explain why it's taking them so long to retake one town only a short distance from Tripoli. Even if the opposition fighters are badly trained, the one big advantage they do have is force of numbers. The rebels, for instance, say they've taken Ras Lanouf and are on the march towards Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte. There's still plenty of resolve here, apart from anything else they captured and then ransacked the symbolic prize of Gaddafi's beachfront residence in the town, which must have been gratifying for them. But more importantly than that, Ras Lanouf has oil, lots and lots of it.
At the beginning there, you see from here up to 10 kilometers, the port, the oil seaport, that's for exporting oil. You see, Ras Lanouf, that's the biggest in Libya here.
And Brega, further east, also still seems to be out of Gaddafi's control. Two things are becoming clear. First of all is that increasingly the fighting's being concentrated around oil towns, which it's hardly surprising Gaddafi's so keen to reclaim, while his assets are being seized all over Europe. His forces are also keen to destroy arms dumps in the hands of rebels. This one went up in flames in Benghazi, although it's not clear how. More than a dozen were killed, the funerals demonstrating once again how united Benghazi is against the government in Tripoli. The other development is that it's clear the fighting's becoming harder, and all the reports from the frontline towns suggest more people being killed than in previous days. The main reason why the two sides are so deadlocked is because neither is particularly strong. But all the same, it's hardly surprising the words civil war are beginning to appear more frequently to describe what's happening in Libya. Lawrence Lee, Al Jazeera.
Now, as we just heard, rebel fighters are now moving towards the Libyan town of Sirte. That's Muammar Gaddafi's hometown and an area that will be extremely well defended. Hada Abdelhamid, who's in the opposition stronghold of Benghazi, has the latest on the opposition advance.
The opposition forces are now quite close to Sirte, the hometown of Gaddafi. At the moment, they are regrouping, trying to find some sort of military structure for them to continue their advance. They do realize that hitting Sirte is going to be much more difficult than whatever they have met so far, just because it's the hometown of Gaddafi, and also because it's where most of his paramilitary elite forces are based under the direct commands of his sons. Sirte is also a much bigger city than AlJazeera, Breda, or Ras Lanouf. Position from the pro-Gaddafi loyalists. However, they are emboldened. They do have a lot of weapons, heavy weapons. We have seen anti-aircraft guns. We have seen also other kind of rocket-propelled grenades and rocket launcher. Each time a town falls, they basically raid the military base and get more. This is the point of no return. They're going to Sirte, and after Sirte, they say they're going to head to Tripoli, and inside Tripoli, they want to head directly to AlJazeera, which is a location where we believe at the moment.
Now let's talk with Ali Taher, a member of the opposition. He represents, the Western Mountain Alliance, which is a group of loosely connected tribes. He's in Az-Zintan, to the south of Tripoli. Could you tell us, what is the situation in Az-Zawiya, where there's been this government offensive to retake the town?
Yes, thank you for having me, and my condolences to all the families of the I can tell you that we have sent some fighters. We've been able to smuggle some fighters in over the past 3 days to Az-Zawiya, helping their brothers in Az-Zawiya. We have sent them some ammunition that's quite needed. Reports that we have from Az-Zawiya that two people confirmed now are martyrs from Zintan and the Western alliances here. The morale here is quite high, and people are up in arms to take it the whole 9 yards to Tripoli. The fact is that people know that this brutal dictator will never stop at anything but kill his own people, and then they're taking it all the way there to Zawiya and on to Tripoli. I can tell you, just before I forget, that with Bani Walid, I don't know if you know where it's at. Bani Walid is the Warfilla tribe. We've been in contact with them today. This town has been sieged by a battalion called Jubran Battalion, brutally besieged, and some arrests were made of peaceful protesters, civilians, and protesters were able to overtake an arms factory there and took some weapons. They took possessions of some weapons, some light arms, and on their way into Sirte to help the fighters coming from the east, from Benghazi and from Ras Lanuf. And we heard, and it's confirmed now, there's some defections within Sirte town, actually among the Gadda tribe, the main tribe in everything is, breaking loose from Gaddafi, So if that happens, and if the fight take Sirte,
okay,
Afwan to Misrata, we close in to Tripoli hopefully next week or so. It's not as easy as it might seem, but this is what's going to happen.
Okay, so we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for that update. Ali Taher talking to us from AlJazeera. Now, Nabila Ramdani is a journalist and commentator specializing in North Africa. She joins me live from London. Ms. Ramdani, if we look at the conventional forces that Gaddafi has, as we've been reporting, they've been poorly trained, poorly equipped. So which forces would be now being used on this offensive against Zawiya?
Well, what we can say, I think with confidence, is that numerically Colonel Gaddafi still has the advantage over anti-Gaddafi supporters. The vast majority of his loyalists are concentrated in the city of Tripoli, but also in the west part of the country. 2 million people in Tripoli and 1 million or so in the west part of the country. Libya is a vast country, 7 times the size of the UK, with only 6.5 million people in Libya. I think one has to emphasize that he still has the upper hand when it comes to military equipment as well. He has a vast arsenal of weapons at his disposal, and that includes large stockpiles of chemical agents, including mustard gas. He also relies not only on his loyal troops directly surrounding him, but also on foreign mercenaries and, of course, his loyal tribes and the special brigades headed by his son. So he has at his disposal, a vast number of people who are ready to support him, not only to consolidate his position in Tripoli and in the western part of the country, but also to try to gradually regain control over the lost territories in the eastern part of the country.
Now, the fact that he has launched this very fierce attack to retake Zawiya with very high casualties, according to reports